Hello and what is up, plant community? So today, I would just do a general care guide on basically just overwintering your plants. Um, so just general overwintering, not specifically what anybody does. I know last video I did specifically what I do to overwinter my plants. But generally, when it comes down to overwintering your plants for winter, you want to have grow lights, especially when it comes down to things like trees, palm trees, ficus trees. Man, this guy lost a lot of leaves. Mainly because I put him over here in a lower light condition, which was more medium, and I don't think he appreciated that. Anyways, so the general care for most of your plants is you don't want to keep a lot of your plants up against a window because that can damage the leaves. It can really damage the leaves of your plants. Uh, so it can cause a little bit of damage. Like, let's see, I got a spider plant, so like a little bit of damage like this. But if you don't mind that, like I do, then that's generally fine. Or if your area has been generally kind of mild, it shouldn't do much to your leaves. So yeah, and then another thing you want to do is you want to keep them away from a drafty window. The drafty windows can cause certain plants to completely defoliate, like your ficus trees here will completely defoliate. Most of them will if they get a cold, drafty breeze coming in through the window. Generally, it is advised to not really put your plants up on the windowsill, but I mean, let's face it, we're plant lovers. We gather plants, and we wind up putting them on the windowsill. That's just the reality of things because we just gather so much plants. So, your trees might need more lighting than others, especially your palm trees. So, like your ficus trees, rubber ficus, weepy fig, rock fig, ficus religiosa, most of your ficuses will need more light than others. Most of your trees will need more light than your other plants. Your dracaenas will need more light. And you gotta remember, most of your plants is gonna want to be up in the window. So most of your highlight plants, if you're like in my area where my room doesn't get much light at all, you should definitely supplement a lot of your lighting with grow lights, especially when it comes down to your trees, and especially your palm trees, because your palm trees are going to need it more than anything, unless they are a more low light tolerant plant. One good thing you can do for your plants, especially trees, is you can take them outside, beef them up for the winter, and that will definitely help them get through the winter. So that's one way that you can easily get them through the winter with most of your plants. So your plants that like a lot of light, like your rock figs, your figs, or even crotons, you want to generally move closer to the window. Again, make sure there is no draft, because a draft can definitely affect how they will react. Now, some of your plants that don't really mind it much, like your little ivies, they won't care. But when it comes down to your more extreme tropicals, yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. Humidity is a big factor when it comes down to overwintering your plants. So a lot of your plants, including palm trees, will need a lot of humidity. Especially this guy, you can see where he's kind of getting some dry tips here. So a lot of your majesty palms, Chinese fan palms, really more of your exotic palms like coconut, majesty, fishtail, bamboo palm. Most of those palms, including other really tropical species, will need a lot of humidity. I come around and mist mine about 2 to 3 times a day, give or take, if I can, if I'm not that busy. I've been really busy this year. Your ficus trees will also appreciate a good misting, as naturally they would get a lot of humidity generally, anyways. So, and for your ferns, it's definitely beneficial to mist them. So, that's generally how I do that. I did have humidifiers placed out through my room, but I decided it'd just be cheaper to just go around and mist all the foliage, or most of the foliage, which would be more better because at least then it'll stick for a bit. Now, some of your other plants, they might not appreciate that and would rather be humid all the time. You got any of those plants like begonias that would rather be humid all the time, then you can stick them in a tank, much like this over here. You can stick them in a tank, and what you can do with that tank is you could get a heat bulb like I got right there, and mist it every day, and your plants will do fine as long as you have some type of UVB bulb or some type of grow light to keep them going throughout the year. That is another way to overwinter, and to overwinter more of your sensitive plants to humidity, and that also includes ferns. Um, it's really, I really think that that's all there is. Of course, another thing I almost forgot to mention, any of your plants that is said to be low light, which isn't really a thing, they're just low light tolerant. They don't really like being there. They more likely prefer medium to bright light, not direct bright light, but like bright light that's coming through the window, filtered light. Some of your plants will even like the filtered light if it's coming directly at them, which here I don't have to worry about. But plants like your cast iron plant, that says they like it a bit more lower in the light. Yeah, you might want to scoot those a bit closer to the window and give them more of a medium to medium low, but I would say more medium to medium bright in the winter time. And the reason why for that is because during the winter time, the sun, well, really the earth will tilt, so it doesn't give the same sunlight as say what we would get during the summer. So like on my side, it's completely shaded out during the winter compared to my mom's room where it's constantly bright and direct sun all day. Another thing you can do is you can use grow lights if you don't have bright light like I do, and that will definitely suffice until summer. Your palms might struggle a bit more. Honestly, I would recommend getting full spectrum bulbs if you are going to do that, which is something I would like to do this year, but whether or not that happens is a different story. So, like, what I've been trying to do to simulate the full spectrum is up here I will have a red bulb, and then here a blue bulb. And the light, of course, it's always nice to have white walls because the white walls will bounce the light off, which will definitely help your plants. Um, so it's definitely important to have lighting. And if you don't have big enough windows to supply that good lighting you need, you're definitely going to need grow lights all day. Another thing you got to do is you can try to extend the growing season for your plants. So basically, during winter time, the sun sets early, especially for us up in north. So what you do to supplement the lighting is you wait for the sun to go completely down, or just a little bit down where it's dark enough in your room, and then you or location wherever you are, and you turn on all the lights. And that is basically extending the growing for them or trying to help them out. Of course, it might not help everything out, but it'll definitely uh, suffice until you can get them back outside. Sorry if my talking's a little off. I kind of had a rough day today. Found out some bad news about my dad, which is personal. I ain't gonna give that too much out on YouTube, but yeah, that's definitely some importance there. Taking off the dead foliage of your plant. So like you can see here on my palm, I take off all the dead fronds, because if not, that can bring in some pests, I've noticed. So it's like important, if you can. If it's completely dead, take it off, because it ain't doing nothing for your plant at that moment. So like fronds, I'll wait for them to go completely brown or yellow before I'll completely take them off. Because even if they're still a little green, they are still doing something for the plant because they're not completely dead. Another problem, which a lot of us has been having issues with this year, especially in my location, is pests. It's important to inspect your plants. I inspect mine every day. I look at my leaves every day. If not every day, once every week. It's definitely important to check your plants because you might get mealybugs, thrips, spider mites, stuff you don't even notice until like you're really observing your plant. I can say whenever I come in here and mist, I am definitely looking for that. So it's important to study your plant, look at your plant, notice their health before you bring them in. And if their health starts to decline, then that probably means that they have a pest. Like this guy here, my ficus burgundy, or burgundy rubber tree. I noticed it had a bit of webbing on the back of the leaves. I noticed these leaves were starting to die. So instantly I was like, there is something wrong with this tree. And I looked and yep, there was. There was something wrong with that tree. And I took care of the situation. Same with this guy. There was something wrong with the Ficus religiosa. Took care of it. Easy peasy. Now, not all pests is easy. So there are certain ways to take care of your pests. Me, what I like to do is I use a poison and I spray with neem oil to get all the dead parents off. And then what I'll do is, like, for basically any of the babies that have managed to survive pests, I will put in the poison that goes into the soil, and once that poison goes into the soil, it'll go up the plant through the stem all the way to the leaves and make the whole plant poisonous to those insects, which will then kill them and kill any of the babies. This year it has been majorly bad, and I had to use that pesticide twice. Especially on this guy, the Fishtail Palm. They have no problems with it during the summer, but boy, as soon as I brought it in, it had nothing but pests. And I still kind of freak out about this guy a bit because I think I'll see a scale insect and I'll scrape it off and notice, oh, he's dry, he's dead. Okay, he's no good. No squishy parts in him. So he's dead, he's gone. Um yeah, it's definitely important, and I must say most people complain about these bringing in some other pests, but my worst pest I have had with these is not spider mites, but thrips with the ivies. So that's one of the worst ones I've had this year. Um, Other than that, usually I get unusual pests. Like I had a whole giant dragon tree got one termite and killed it. Ever since then, I've been paranoid, especially on this guy because His trunk's just thickened up so much over the time I've had him. Yeah, anyways, it's really about all I got to say for general care of plants during the winter. I will wind up doing a video eventually about overwintering your bonsais and why it is important to overwinter your bonsais. We will go into detail about overwintering cold hardy bonsais and overwintering tropical bonsais. More than likely, I will probably start out with the tropical bonsais as they are inside and I don't have to really brace for the cold. Anyways, if you guys like this video, give me a like, share, and subscribe. It really helps me out. It really helps me get out there and share everything planty with people. And I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. Thank you.